Hey everybody, welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. If you want your daily dose of Reddit stories that aren't accompanied by a robot voice, then now's the time to subscribe and click on notifications. In our first story, a Choosing Beggar friend needs to borrow some money. This is the kind of thing that works out well all the time, isn't it? Let's jump right in. I had a friend, let's call him William. He was a friend from high school. We hung out doing normal teenage stuff, sports, smoking, drinking. After high school, we slowly lost contact. I went to uni, worked fast food. I don't know what he did. We had no contact after his parents moved out. A year and a half ago, I suddenly met William again at a little get-together that a mutual friend arranged. A couple months later, William messaged me at 3:30 in the morning and asked me to order food for him through Uber Eats. I myself have never ordered food through a delivery service because I cannot afford it. William said he had a fight with his dad, he was temporarily staying at a friend's place, and he really needed something to eat. He said he was having a rough time but would pay me back the money. It seems strange, but not really a big deal. I ordered the food for him. He asked me to order food for him again another time, again sounding pretty desperate, and I did it, but I was getting a strange feeling about it. The third time that he said he was desperate and asked me to order food for him, I told him that ordering food like that was really expensive and that he would be better off cooking for himself instead of ordering out. I offered to lend him some money to buy some shopping. He said that he expected his situation to be changing soon and this would be the last time he would need me to order food for him. I gave in. I got some money from my mom's account to pay for it. That same month, he asked for $100. I again gave it to him thinking that at least it was better if he was borrowing money to buy food to cook. I really believed that it was the last time, for real this time. I got the money from mom and dad and gave it to him. At this point, William owed me $325. Last March, my mom was diagnosed with bile duct cancer and she died 2 months ago. My parents knew his parents. William's parents came to my mom's funeral, but he didn't. I suspected that it might be because he didn't want to pay me back. After messaging him many times, I found out his cell number was not in service anymore. I tried to call his home number, but it was also not in service. I called his dad's cell once, but it was busy and I didn't try again as I was so frustrated trying to call him by this time. I don't use Facebook, so I don't have a Facebook account, but I knew that William did have one, and so I figured I could get in contact with him through it. I explained the situation to my uncle and asked if I could use his account to send William a message on Facebook. My uncle was happy to help. I messaged William saying it was me contacting him through my uncle's account. He didn't reply. At this point, I thought only two things were possible. He either doesn't check Facebook, or he is intentionally ignoring me. My uncle and I had a discussion about how I should go about getting the money from William back now. My uncle gave me a long talk about how what was happening to me was actually a really common story. He told me that people have been borrowing money and not paying it back for as long as there have been people around, and he told me some of his experiences with lending money. My uncle told me that when someone is asking for money, they are your best friend and they are full of guarantees of how quickly you will get your money back, but as soon as they have the money in hand, then they will most likely disappear. Once that happens, you have the huge headache of finding them and asking them for the money, and all of a sudden you are the problem. Your friend will start saying things like, "Don't you trust me? What do you think, that I'll eat it?" They start acting angry to make you seem at fault. My uncle told me that I was actually lucky because William wasn't really a close friend. He told me that it would be worse if I had lent it to a really great friend because I would be risking destroying a real friendship over the money. My uncle told me that if this was a really good friend, then I should either not do it or just give the money to my friend. Of course, I've heard of the advice to lend money only if you can afford to give it away. Well, I thought I could really trust William to return the money to me. Lesson learned. Today, it's been 12 days since I messaged William on Facebook. I biked over to his house and he was home. When I told him how many times I tried to contact him and complained that he didn't reply to my Facebook message, he acted like he didn't know anything about it. Then he said something along the lines of, "Look, I can't be replying to people I don't know, and I don't really use Facebook, just Instagram." At this point, I played it cool. I didn't say anything about the money. I just listened to what he had to say and asked what he's been doing lately. We talked for a bit, and William told me that he had been doing some odd jobs, trying some fraud schemes, and he was selling weed to high school kids. He bragged about being able to deposit about $5K a month. Figured that he shouldn't have any problem paying me back and wondered if I was one of the fraud schemes. I waited for William to bring up the money that he owed me, because I still felt uncomfortable asking for it. I figured that if I asked, he could have just come up with an excuse why he couldn't pay me, and then what would I do? I wanted to confirm that he really had the cash available to make sure that he couldn't say no. He got dressed and said we should meet a friend of his at the park to smoke and drink. I agreed to go, thinking it could be easier that way. We got to the park, had a beer, and smoked. When his friend left to get more beer, I asked him if he remembered the money he borrowed from me. "Yeah, but can you remind me?" "You forgot?" "No, just remind me a little." After I told him, he asked me if it was urgent, if I could wait. "How long?" "I don't know, give me a week." I didn't agree to wait, and we had a bit more back and forth like this with him trying to evade paying. William's friend comes back with more beer, and while drinking, I ask for the money again, this time not caring if his friend hears about it. William got heated up, aggressive. "Okay, if you need it that bad, I'll give it to you. It's that bad, huh? Give me some time." My weak butt couldn't get him to pay me back. He would just make silly faces, mocking me when I asked him to pay. Then he laid down and pretended to take a nap. There was music playing on the other guy's phone. I typed on my phone's notepad that William owes me $325 and how he's been evading me for a year, and asked William's friend to help me. I'd ask William directly to pay me and find out which bank he uses. We could do it right now if his friend would help me make William agree. I knew that pretty much all the major banks were within a couple minutes walk from where we were. The friend agrees to help and wakes William up. "Hey, let's go now." While William's getting up, I ask, "Do you have the money to pay me back?" "Yeah, but today is my re-up." "What?" "My re-up is today." I think that this means that William needs to buy more drugs to sell. "How much money do you have in your bank? 5,000? Nah. 3,000? 2,000? William finally gives up. It turns out that his bank was right across the street. "Was it really $325? Exactly?" He smiled while crossing. While he was inside at the ATM, I asked the friend how long he's known William. 4 years. I told him how William bragged about his fraud schemes and how I think he's doing something similar to me. I asked if he knew others who William has done this to, but his friend says he doesn't know. It made me so mad to see how William is wearing all this brand name stuff while trying to evade paying me back $325. William comes out of the bank and handed me some money. I counted the money as I didn't trust that he wouldn't shortchange me. I thanked William's friend, gave William a quick glance and said, "See ya." I rode back home with $325 in my pocket. Later, my uncle told me that William was saying all kinds of things about me on Facebook messages. I looked at them and wasn't surprised at all. I know of at least 3 people who completely stopped talking to him over the past few years. There is now 1 more. Goodbye, William. Thanks for teaching me an important lesson. In story number 2, we have the tale of 2 choosing beggars and a fool. My city is just coming out of quarantine now. A local restaurant had one of the workers out front making Korean barbecue kebabs, so obviously my husband and I got one each. Just after we got our food and started walking away, a man approached us and asked for money. He said he was homeless and needed to eat. My husband and I were both temporarily laid off and are pleased to both be making $2,000 a month because of CERB. I wanted to pass it forward. Since the woman making the delicious kebabs was only accepting cash, I asked my husband to check what he had and I checked my own wallet. $7, enough for 2 kebabs, $3 each, a drink, 50 cents, which I didn't know at the time, and change. I asked the man if he would like 2 kebabs. He said yes. I faced the woman and asked her for 2 kebabs. I asked if he wanted a drink. Again, yes. Again, I faced the woman and asked her, how much does a drink cost? I was holding a $5 bill and a $2 coin, toonie. At the moment, she said 50 cents, he said $2. I found that to be really weird. Why lie like that? I noticed the sign on the window behind her after this happened, which also said 50 cents, so I don't see how he could be doing anything but intentionally lying. Wanted to take the money and pay inside himself instead of paying the woman, which also was strange. I let it go. I figured he needed the win. So here is where I feel kind of foolish. A few days pass. My husband and I head to a grocery store. We don't have a car, so grocery shopping is a team effort. A man was begging at a woman outside the grocery store. She declined and went in, so he approached us begging for a drink. My husband politely says we couldn't. We go in. I feel bad for the man, so I grab a water. My husband says okay, but only get one for him. It didn't feel like enough, but I got one anyway. I pay for it with our groceries, go out to find him across the parking lot in the opposite direction. Not really a large parking lot, just the cherry on top, and hand him the water. He then asks me to go into this other store to buy him a token for the transit system in my city. I realized immediately he was taking advantage of me and declined. While walking away, I was telling my husband how he made me feel weird when he asked me to go into another store to get him something. My husband says, "Just the same as last time." I said, "What do you mean?" He tells me it's the same guy as last time. You see, I have some range of facial blindness. I thought it was a different guy. I also have this problem with movies and TV shows, especially if the hair is the same color and style. Then my husband reminded me that he is probably getting served too. I don't even think he recognized me, or maybe he did. Either way, I feel foolish. This has been John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more of them, then please hit that subscribe button. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.